Hello, everybody, and welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League. My name is Serge.
My name is James.
Planet FPL. It is the best place to go for FPL advice. Did you know that?
No.
It really is.
It's really not.
It really is. I had a game week rank inside the top 2 million for once.
We need to thank someone for this particular beer
Cheers.
that I have in my hand.
Mine is a non-alcoholic version, but cheers to Colm Connolly.
Thank you, Colm.
Colm or Connolly, you sent us through a case of beer and we really appreciate
Sláinte.
it. Thank you very much. I think Colm's Irish, so he'll understand that. Sláinte. I never understood it when you kept saying it to me.
Shout out to Amber Redmond as well, and plenty of others who pointed out James can't work a fucking bottle opener.
He cannot.
So I've solved the problem this week and I got a couple of cans.
We're on the cans, but yeah, thank you for all the kind offers of a bottle opener. I'll be replying and get back to people shortly. FPL.
Yeah, buddy.
Loud. Sorry if I broke people's ears with that.
How was your game week?
Good. Good, I think.
Okay, what'd you score?
55 points.
It's all right.
I had fairly decent returns all round. Could have been better. Basically, the way it works is my goalkeeper returned and my midfield returned. None of my defenders or strikers did. But all in all, a decent week that could have been better. I made the 2 transfers in the end. Brought in Rico for Otamendi to give me enough money to get Kevin De Bruyne. Brought Kevin De Bruyne in and decided to captain him. I was like, I ain't owned you all season, you bastard. I've got you.
So did you
now.
take a hit?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
No. Sorry, I had 2 frees.
Lundstrom, Rico, De Bruyne, no?
No. Lundstrom I already owned.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Sorry, Rico and De Bruyne. I had 2. So, yeah, I thought with Kevin De Bruyne, I haven't owned you all season, you bastard. Now I finally got you. Fuck, you have the armband. So I put the armband on him anyway, just for no reason, really. There wasn't really like stand out, another option. Aubameyang to Crystal Palace might have been another option, but look, he didn't return, did he? So he was one of my better points returners was Kevin De Bruyne. So there you go.
A return from all of your midfield.
Yes, Yarmolenko, an assist and some BPS, max BPS.
Your top point scorer was Edison.
Yep.
Edison, the man who only keeps clean sheets with a 9-point return. I don't think it's his first this season either.
No, he is now the top returning goalkeeper.
Yeah, and I think he will be. We said that obviously he had the game's advantage on Alisson, so he most likely will finish as the top point scoring goalkeeper. But it might say a little bit about City. I mean, the save he made, which he pushed onto the post from McGinn at the end, was very good. He's a good goalkeeper, Edison.
Yeah, he really is. No returns from Trent and Robbo, but you look at Liverpool again, and it's not like these clean sheets are not coming at some point, and Trent could easily have got some attacking returns, man. In fact, both of them could have got fucking
ridiculous,
tons of attacking returns.
Ridiculous Trent and Robbo, and we'll talk about it a bit more a little later, but just a reminder that between the two of them from the beginning of last season, they have 28 assists.
Mental. Maddison was actually a disappointment in the end with a 9-0 win and only 8 points. Mason Mount, 5. He's going to tick along nicely. Heung-min Son, 5. He's going to tick along nicely. I suppose my disappointment is my attack in Wilson and Aubameyang, who we've pointed out on previous shows I've had since my wild card 3 game weeks ago. Both had returned in every game week in the first 7, and none have returned since. And that, folks, is FPL.
The only thing you could have done to improve getting Wilson and Aubameyang in 2 weeks ago when they'd returned in every single game so far was get Aguero as well, because exactly the same.
And that
period.
would have been wicked. Aguero has been worse, to be fair, because he's been dropped a few times
if you'd have
as
picked
well.
that, I mean, you wouldn't have gone with the 2 heavy up front like that, premium wise. But I think, like, had you gone with a front 3 like that when they'd returned in every single game at that time, like, you couldn't have questioned it.
No, it was a fair strategy. Disappointment with De Bruyne's goal. Obviously, that was another VAR mess.
It was the right call, and anybody who says differently is wrong or needs to go and get their eyes tested.
At the point that it's given to David Silva, then it needs not to be given,
including whoever the fuck was in the VAR room. I was listening to Peter Walton, who's the referee analyst in the BT studio. They're looking at it and they're slowing the ball down, and you can clearly see that it deviates off David Silva's the flick of his toe. It's very slight, but it definitely is a 100% angle from behind the goal where you can see David Silva definitely diverts the ball. And Peter Walton sits there because he doesn't want to criticise a fucking referee or VAR and says it's an optical illusion. It's the spin of the ball. Yeah, okay, mate. You're just lying. No, you're just lying because you don't want to criticise one of your mates or something. Listen, whoever was in the VAR Stockley Park watching the Man City game wasn't the only one to make a rick this weekend. I think we can claim whoever was watching the Brighton game, whoever was watching the Norwich game, whoever was watching the Arsenal game. I wonder if maybe the answer to the solution for the people at Stockley Park who are on VAR, perhaps we should get kids to do it because their eyesight's obviously a lot better. I mean, the older you get, the more your eyesight goes, right?
Yeah, quite possibly. I've been a fan of getting technology into football for a while, and the last 3 weeks have descended into such a farce that I'm with you. I don't want it anymore. And I'm all for everything in the history of humankind, other than maybe warfare, has been improved by the introduction of technology. Warfare's fucked because we can just make bigger bombs that kill more people. Everything else, whether it's food, healthcare, whatever, technology makes it better. It has fucked up the Premier League this season.
Well, they obviously sat there this time last week and went, right, lads, let's get our heads together. We're not overturning any decisions.
Let's overturn all of them.
Let's make sure we just overturn some shit now. Yeah, like bonkers. I've said this so many times, and I really want to kind of say this for the last time. And I know a lot of people are saying, yeah, it's being managed properly abroad in other leagues. You know what? Maybe it is. Fuck VAR. I want to get rid of it. Give me a crap referee making crap refereeing decisions because yet again, because of the fear, I didn't celebrate Harry Kane's goal yesterday because I think, is he offside? Yeah. Didn't even celebrate, mate.
No.
Sick of this bollocks, mate. Taking the emotion out of football. Let's talk about my FPL weekend. VAR's really got me wound up.
Okay, let's talk about a different VAR. A VARD. Vardy. Your transfer that you made, eh? Did you like my tenuous link
and
there?
Apologies to anybody who listened to the final plan and didn't see my tweets yesterday. I did not bring in Jamal Lascelles to go with it as well. Actually, mid-recording, Suj was sitting next to me and managed to flash up Sheffield United's fixtures, and I thought, Jesus, they're nowhere near as bad as I thought they were.
Yeah.
And common sense, I think everybody would agree, common sense prevailed. Yeah, get Lundstrom in. So I did get Lundstrom in, and what did Lascelles get? 8, I think. It might have been 10, I think.
It was double figures. It was 10 points.
Yeah. So it cost me about 8 odd points, but I cannot complain. I finished the week
long term. It's a better move to get Lundstrom in. He played well actually at the weekend.
I got 68 points for game week rank of 717,000 for a 300k jump up to my highest rank of the season of just inside 340,000. So I can't complain.
I guess your game week hinges really heavily on getting the right captain in Sterling and Jamie Vardy.
Yeah, I'm not going to look back at that in hindsight and go, we should captain Jamie Vardy. Indoors, Mrs. Old Planet FPL wifey. So I get home from work Friday afternoon about 6:30.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do in my team. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, she's still got Perez, right?
Yeah.
She's still got Sigurdsson. But I'm like, I don't know if this is the right week to take either of them out.
Yeah.
So she's got Kane, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Get rid of Kane. Do you think? I'm like, yeah, come on, it's Liverpool away. You can't captain him at the moment. Get rid of him. So she brings in Abraham. Who shall I captain? So I look at her team. So she's got Vardy, Abraham, De Bruyne.
Yeah.
A load of shite, really. I said, look, from my opinion, I would go De Bruyne. You don't think Vardy? I said, no. Personally, I'd go De Bruyne.
Yeah.
This is what happens when. So she ends up with, she had Vardy and Jose Perez in her team Friday night, and she's still giving me fucking daggers because I told her to captain De Bruyne.
And don't forget, she's got Schmeichel in goal.
And Schmeichel in
goal. 47 points from
just
Friday
from 3
night.
Players.
Yeah. The only way it could have been better is if she'd had Chilwell instead of Schmeichel, maybe.
Then on the Saturday, so I'm begging De Bruyne to do something, right? To keep her off my case. De Bruyne scores. She goes out. Comes back about R3. Oh yeah, sorry, love.
It's been disallowed.
Given the goal to David Silva. She was raging.
Yeah.
And yet, I don't know what she scored, 70 odd or something. She's
72.
Still in a rage. Yeah.
Overall rank now inside the top 300k. So
it just shows
Mrs. Planet FPL is doing all right.
What was the chance of that? Vardy and the Jose Perez 40 points.
Yeah, it's mental. I mentioned to you, I was out on Friday night last week for my birthday with my missus. Right, we ended up in central London in a nice restaurant with no phone reception. So I did have my phone to my side trying to check the score, but obviously she's taking me out for my birthday, so I can't be too blatant about it. But no phone reception, killed it. So I was like, I can't check anyway. Fine. We came out of the restaurant at about 10:30, something like that. And I flipped on live score. And, like a 9 looks like a 0, right? So I'm like squinting with my eyes. It is a bit late. My eyes are not the best at the best of times. I'm like, is that a 9? So I showed my missus. I was like, is that a 0-0 or a 9-0? She goes, that's a 9. I was like, James Maddison, fill your boots. Clicked on it and didn't get nothing back. But that one goal is fine. And James Maddison's had a price rise this week, which we will kind of touch on. We touched on it in the People's Poll when we were talking about Jamie Vardy as well this week, how well the Leicester players are doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the boys in blue this year, Chelsea and Leicester, that are giving us some incredible FPL assets.
Well, value-wise, those two certainly hold the best of it at the moment.
Let's talk about the games, shall we? Run down as we do week in, week out the games. So just before we do that, your missus is sitting on 3.7 million in the bank now as well.
That's because she took out Kane for Abraham, right?
She needs... she's got 99.4 million. She's not even got 100 million squad value.
Of course not. She's not playing the game properly.
She's playing it better than you or me at the moment.
No, do you know what? This is honestly true, right?
Yeah.
And it's probably a little bit of a lesson for value hunters here. What my missus does is before the deadline, she looks at the player that she most wants to take out of her squad, and she will basically replace them with the player that scored the most points that she can afford.
Right.
That's it. Mm-hmm. So when she looked at taking out Kane at the weekend, she went, Abraham. And she already had Vardy as well, right?
Yeah.
So it was a no-brainer. So that's all. So now she's got 3.9 in the bank. So when she looks next week, she goes, "That fucking Sigurdsson's doing nothing."
Yeah.
She can probably propel like Mane in there or something, right? And eventually she'll go round in circles and she'll get it right.
Yeah, it's not a bad strategy.
Although
I think Pookie might be on his way out soon.
Pookie's definitely on the chopping block. Considering she was the original, right? Went from him with game week 1.
Yeah.
She's properly sick of Pookie.
Quick quiz question for you.
Go for it.
Who's first sub on your missus' bench?
I wouldn't have a clue. Is it Lascelles?
It's Jamal Lascelles. Big Mac himself, 10 points as first sub on James' missus' bench as well. Now that would, if he'd have come on, I would have just given up FPL and given her the trophy or the goodie bag or whatever you get for that week, because that would have been mental. But Luca Dean with a -1 versus Jamal Lascelles first sub at 10 would have been an incredible game week.
Yeah, on Luca Dean, we all know what the -1 means. The fucking 16-pointer coming
next week.
Oh,
yeah.
Guess what? I got Spurs this weekend.
Oh,
brilliant.
Here we go.
Great.
So Leicester 9, Southampton 0. Record-breaking Premier League victory. 5 different goal scorers, 4 different assisters, clean sheet for Schmeichel. Everybody apart from Ndidi returning. I don't know. I mean, in much the same way that I'm enjoying seeing Chelsea playing free-flowing football with the youngsters coming through, I'm enjoying seeing Leicester do the bits as well. Good club, good young talent, nice British spine through the middle as well. Apart from the goalkeeper who's not British, but Peter Schmeichel speaks with a Manchester accent, close enough.
I think this game will be one of those where, like, you'll remember. For those of us who did watch it, will remember what we were doing. I'm quite sadistic games like this, although I wouldn't have wanted Leicester to win because they're a competitive rival. Arguably, they're not anymore at the moment. But I would obviously want them to get beat. But it gets to a certain stage in games, and I do feel I'm quite sadistic like this. I'm like, can't fucking bury them.
Yeah, I'm with you on that as well.
It never happens. And I spoke about this a little bit on we covered Vardy and Leicester on the People's Poll earlier. And I said to you, like, what really impressed me was like there was no let up with them. They were going for it. They were out there to make a statement. And the 9 goals is essentially almost worth an extra point because goal difference wise, that's given them a real advantage over those that are chasing that position that they're in. I don't think they're in the race for the title because I just think particularly Liverpool, City, if they can sort their defensive issues out, are far stronger. I think for Leicester now, if the players stay fit, they will finish top 4.
Yep.
That's literally all that could stop them. The only other thing I think would be if the manager went.
Yeah.
Which I can't see happening, but there are 3 big jobs that might become available, and I think they'll look at him.
100%. I think the way he left Liverpool in the end might have left a bit of kind of not a bitter taste, but negativity around him with a lot of English football fans or British football fans. But the reality is he killed it at Swansea and he killed it at Celtic as well. Now he's killing it at Leicester. He's a good manager with a lot of ability.
I think he's an excellent coach. I think he's a forward-thinking coach. I think you enjoy watching his teams play. I think he's a dickhead, by the way. I think the question mark remains over. Well, where he cocked up at Liverpool was essentially he had the makings of a very good team that needed defensive improvement, and he went and bought Balotelli. And it was a massive gamble that backfired.
Yeah, quite possibly. Where are you looking at Leicester now? So Vardy's coming into my team. Maddison, you've got Harvey Barnes is less than 6 million. Tielemans with a goal and an assist. You've got Perez or Chilwell at the back. I think the one issue that Leicester could have is centre-backs. If they pick up an injury at centre-back, then they don't have the biggest strength of depth.
If they lose Vardy, that's a big blow.
True. Midfield, they have a bit of strength and depth.
Yeah, a little bit in there with kind of Chowdhury can step in for Ndidi. He could probably play a little bit higher if they lost Tielemans.
I mean, Damari Gray's nowhere to be seen.
Genuinely, they scored 9 at the week. There are 9 players you could look at from Leicester. I think the only 2 that I wouldn't consider from the starting 11 at the weekend is Johnny Evans, because you got Soyuncu lower, more power in Chilwell and Pereira, and Ndidi.
Yeah, holding midfielder is never an FPL asset, really.
But otherwise, the other 9, we talked earlier about Ayoze Perez, who was obviously is going to be sitting in a lot of dead teams, who had a bit of a revenge at the weekend. Him and Harvey Barnes have got next to no ownership at 5.9. Maddison's at a good value. I think defensively, personally, I'd go Chilwell now. In midfield, I'd go Tielemans, 6.5, owned by 6%. And up front, we kind of killed it to death earlier on Vardy, but he's...
For me, Pereira is the better option at the back.
Close to essential at this moment, because just the value, a little bit like it's a higher weighted version of what happened to Pukki earlier in the season. One of the things that convinced me to go on with him was there was a lot of uncertainty in terms of people around Pukki's value, and what convinced me to go on was the idea that, all right, if it didn't perform, you'd carry the value. And then you'd get off when you could. The problem for me personally is I'm still fucking on. But get on, ride it for a little bit, take the value, and then come off. And this might even be the same with Vardy. The problem is when you look at their fixtures, you just go, wow, up until game week 18. It's on. And again, you shouldn't read too much into the FPL's FDR, but Arsenal owns rated as a 4. I mean, hello, and everything else is rated as a 2. I would suggest the hardest fixture they've got between now and game week 18 might be this weekend away to Palace.
Yeah, quite possibly. I'd take Pereira over Chilwell, but I see the value difference there is quite a bit, so that's something to consider. Southampton.
Yeah. Wow.
If this was an away game, Southampton would have refunded all of their fans their ticket price. They should be doing it anyway, mate.
They might for the home fans.
Is it been suggested?
One of the, I don't know.
They slipped into the bottom 3 now.
Fair play to the admin guy who kept tweeting with the goals. Hard to fucking give up. At 5-0, I'd have just updated at the end. 9-0. I love that they put a picture up as well. You put a picture up.
It's mad.
And the reason I said I think people remember where they watched, because you'll never see that again.
Yeah.
9 goals away from home. The previous record was United 8-1, and that was like, it was 4-1 with 10 minutes to go, a little bit like what happened with Spurs against Bayern. There was Solskjaer come on and got 4. It was a lot of late goals. This was a battering from minute 1 to minute 90.
Yeah.
And 9-0 wasn't a fluke, mate.
Not more often than not, when a team goes down to 10 men, they become more compact and harder to break down.
Southampton got worse. Well, they made
hideous.
They made an immediate error by trying to throw Ward-Prowse at left wing back to fill out a hole. I mean, even if they were going to do that, surely it would have made more sense to put Ward-Prowse on the right and put Valerie to the left. When we had Ali and Anoop on, FPL Gaffer and Foxy FPL on Thursday's Clash of the Correspondents, I spoke with Ali a little bit in depth about my concern about them being defensively shit. All of them are shit. And he didn't argue, in fairness, did he?
No.
But this result hasn't looked like it's been coming, really.
Not a 9-0 now, because Southampton do play with high energy and they press generally, so they do get their work rate is never generally in doubt, even if their ability sometimes might be.
They've been very underwhelming in home fixtures for probably 2 years or so, going back to even like when Puel was in charge, sort of from after Koeman left. Very underwhelming in home games. But in going into the season, we very much thought like they would improve as the season went on. And we saw little signs that felt like, yeah, you know what I mean, pressing. They're the only side who's been to Tottenham and tried to press this season.
Yeah, they played well against Liverpool.
But it was also their downfall on the day as well. And I think like to get a slap in like that, unless they respond immediately, Hasenhüttl's fucked. Like, because it's that bad a result.
Well, to be honest, if you are a Southampton fan, there is some blessings in disguise. You've got City next.
Twice. League Cup and Premier League this weekend.
Ouch.
We'll come on to City.
Ouch.
But I think, that's that bad a result that there's just no recovering. There's no, I don't see a recovery in that. And the problem they've got is they don't score enough goals and defensively they're shite. So they've got to work on the good things we've seen on them, such as their energy. I think like the little unfortunate, say, Gineppo looked like he was playing well and has been out injured. I think the wing backs are okay, but I don't think Bertrand can complain with the red card. It was nice for it to actually get shown on the screen. They didn't do that again. It's weird.
No.
Yeah, they're in a whole heap of trouble, Southampton. And if you pinned me now, I think we'd all say they'll go down.
Yep.
Because others are so much better. Even if you take someone like Newcastle, all right, they don't score a lot of goals either, but they won't have a result like that, mate.
No, true. Let's move on
results.
To some other results. City 3, Aston Villa 0. We've talked about this ghost goal from Kevin De Bruyne or David Silva, where you're saying it was definitely David Silva who touched it, but if David Silva touched it, then it's definitely not a goal because he was offside. So either give the goal to Kevin De Bruyne and pretend that David Silva didn't touch it, or rule it out for offside and give me back my FPL points.
Yep.
Something like that.
Well, the correct decision is it shouldn't have been a goal.
Right.
So those who got the De Bruyne assist can't complain.
Yeah.
Rather than the goal, because you shouldn't have even had the assist. And I'm a De Bruyne owner as well, obviously.
Yeah,
both are.
Yeah.
But the correct decision there is to disallow the goal.
Yeah.
I actually thought that was as poor as I'd seen. It was definitely as poor as I've seen De Bruyne this season. I thought it was quite underwhelming. I felt he played with the handbrake on a little bit, actually.
A little.
I mean, he was still like 9 out of 10, but for his standards, I thought it was quite poor. It didn't create a lot in the game. What we have to talk about with City is Aguero.
Dropped again.
Yeah.
One of my mates in one of my mini leagues, triple captain armband on Aguero.
Oh, yeah, it was the vice. Oh, it doesn't matter. Does it? It came on,
Was that an intentional kick in the nuts?
I mean, at least you weren't your mate Rambo.
Oh yeah, true. He had
It's
to
the
triple
same
captain.
return though, wasn't it?
Yeah, but he got blackmailed into it. Emotionally blackmailed. Listen, was harsh.
Official FPL bullying. Yeah, we're okay with that, are we? All right, cool. I'm just calling it out. I feel bad for you, Rambo, but you could have just fucking said no.
Yeah, I don't think it was official FPL. I think James on the show did it.
Yeah, he got bullied into it, mate.
Yeah.
He should have said no. I'm not doing that. Aguero, I feel really sorry for anybody who captained him at the weekend. I don't think you did the bad thing at all. I think
triple captain.
Like, he always plays the home games generally, isn't he? We said it last week. Is there a pattern now emerging where he's playing the home games and not playing the away games?
Well, obviously not, but he played midweek.
Yeah, and Pep talking about when they want to press. We don't press Villa at the weekend, mate. Got too much of the ball to be worrying about that sort of thing. And I think they're a little bit conscious of they've got issues defensively, so I don't think they're pressing in as much volatility as they would normally when they're really going at a team off the ball. I don't think they're doing it at the moment.
No.
And it's because they're conscious of them getting broken between the lines, saying the way Norwich did in game week 5. If I was an Aguero owner, I would captain him this weekend. Now, it's easy for me to say that I don't own him, although we got to stop mentioning the Sky game on our FPL pods, but I do own him in Sky, and I'll reveal now that I will captain him on Saturday.
I'll be captaining Sterling, no doubt.
I don't think you can sell him before that fixture.
Yeah.
How are you going to feel?
No.
The flip side, okay, right. So the problem is this is where at the moment he's becoming unownable. But he's also in a stage now, Aguero, where he's unbuyable and he's unsellable, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And I think like you can't sell him at home to Southampton. And if he's in the team and you don't captain him, you're going to feel shit. And yeah, all right, if you captain him and he doesn't play, he's going to feel shit. But there's a good chance that if he does start on Saturday, you're going to get a monster haul out of him, considering who they're up against. We now look at them. We've looked at Norwich, who probably are the weakest defensively. We've looked at Watford, who are now improving defensively. Like, Southampton are so bad defensively, it does not matter what they do at the Etihad on Saturday. If City can be bothered, they will murder them.
Agree with
and
you.
therefore, it's worth the chance, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, I've got Sterling this week, and I've got the return. I'm going to captain Sterling again this week. And I know the fact that he played last week makes it a bigger chance that he won't play this week. And there's Champions League in the midweek after.
I think you're looking too much into
exactly.
that
Just
on.
my opinion last week in terms of captaining, for me personally, Sterling over De Bruyne, was the fact that Sterling's ceiling would be much higher than De Bruyne's. And if you put Aguero into that conversation as well, the same applies to Aguero. So I'll be captaining Sterling this weekend, well aware of what the risk. And I think those who own Aguero have to do the same. And then, the following week it's Liverpool away and you've got your excuse to bin.
Yeah.
That would be my take on it.
The disappointment is, to be honest, Aguero is still 12.1 million, which is more than the 12 that most people would have paid for him. Because he went up as high as 12.2. He's at a price drop to 12.1. No one's losing any value in him as well, either.
Well, it depends when you bought, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, still, you'd have bought him at... I don't think there's going to be many people that bought him at 12.2 and are bothered about him being at 12.1 now. I don't think he is going to lose value necessarily. So I think you can't look past City. You've got to stick with them.
He still has, per 90, excluding players who've played like 10, 15 minutes, of regular players... per 90, Aguero has the best XG so far this season. Do you know who's second?
Kevin De Bruyne?
It's Jesus.
Well, there was a tweet that FPL Chancer Dan put out. City have taken more shots this season than anyone by a massive factor. They've taken more shots than West Ham and Wolves. Wolves are bottom of the list, and West Ham about 14th in the table combined. City have taken more shots than goal.
City's XG, I think, is 32 roughly so far this season for goals. To give you perspective,
3.2 a game.
Liverpool and Chelsea are joint second on 20.
Wow, something else.
So if you've got one of these assets, I think you've got to take the chance.
Yeah.
I'll be Sterling this weekend, well aware of what the risks are.
Let's move on. Brighton 3, Everton 2. Everton's home T-Rex, their away Rex continues, right?
Yes, true. Although they were very unlucky this weekend, Everton. They should have won the game.
Yeah. Having said that, Brighton picking up points now, gathering some momentum. Mopé with a goal. I saw our friend Andy, Let's Talk FPL, went and gambled on Mopé as a replacement for Pookie.
Neil Murray as well.
Yeah.
I think there was a few others went on Mopé. Yeah, great shout.
I've had an eye on Mopé, and also Connolly picked up 2 assists, the penalty being a bit...
We spoke about both of Mopé and Connolly a little bit in terms of this 2-game gamble with Everton at home and Norwich at home. I feel that if you do it this weekend, it's now a 1-game gamble. And if you're in a position where you can make the 1-game gamble, then by all means still do it this weekend. Be very conscious of Connolly, who I think is one of the first players ever to get an FPL assist and having already been substituted. Because he got the assist for the penalty, he'd already been subbed before it was taken. So I'd be conscious and keep an eye particularly on Connolly in terms of his potential injury. But that's where I'd go if he was fit, if I wanted to go that way. Connolly, for me, is a longer-term move where, you can dip him in and you can probably play him this week while you wait to fix another problem, perhaps defensively on midfield, and then you stick him on the bench for the games afterwards. But I'd keep an eye on the fitness. Morpay's numbers are very good. I think he's about 7th for X per 90.
Okay.
XG per 90 so far this season. Really good. The only thing I would say, and this is more of an eye test fault on this, is that obviously his last 2 returns have been a dodgy as hell penalty. It was never a penalty. I'm not going to start it. It's not a penalty. And obviously the goal we scored against Spurs, Lloris fractured his arm and has dropped the ball in front of goal. Yep. So those 2 incidents themselves obviously also relate to extremely high XGs. I presume his XG, for example, in the Spurs, in that incident against Spurs would have been higher than penalty, which is 0.6 or 0.7 something. So you can go these guys. Keep an eye. You're looking at Leandro Trossard.
Yeah, I mean he's
made a big impact.
The one that I'm looking at from Brighton's point of view is Trossard. Looking at my midfield, the person that I would replace, not this week, but imminently would be Yarmolenko within a couple of weeks, something like that. So Trossard being 5.8 million, I think, is pretty good value. So if you want a cheaper midfielder and you want someone who's a little bit more of a differential because he's got very low ownership, 0.2% is mental. I may go from Yarmolenko to Trossard a bit further down the line. It's not one for me right now because of the good fixture for West Ham, but Trossard is the one that I'm looking at. I think 5.2 is great. May even be after game week 16.
Yeah, I think it's a come back to for the higher value ones like Trossard, Gross. Obviously, the fixture this weekend really appeals, and you shouldn't necessarily be scared by Man United away afterwards. But then it's Leicester, Liverpool, and Arsenal away as well.
Tough games.
That's why I think if you was go invest, if he's fit, you could get Connolly this weekend, play him, and then rework something else afterwards. Is a consideration, particularly for perhaps people like myself who want to come off Pookie at some point soon. I think.
Yep. Everton, anything to add?
No, just obviously Richarlison playing out of position. Bernard potentially picked up a bad injury. Defensively, they're shite. I think Silva made negative substitutions at 2-1. But on overall, they should have won this game. That said, I wouldn't be looking at their assets to be bringing in. So moving on.
Well, let's move on to the most exciting match of the weekend. Watford 0, Bournemouth 0. I think Stephen Toomey, our Watford correspondent, is getting pretty fed up with these draws. But a 0-0 for Watford to keep a clean sheet, I think they've got to be happy with that to keep Bournemouth out. Because Bournemouth, as an attacking threat, you'd find out if you listen into the show on Thursday with Neil Grover, our Bournemouth correspondent, they've got attacking talent there. King, Wilson, both Wilsons, Fraser, Stanislas. So to keep them out, they've got to take credit for that.
Yeah, I kind of suggested after they drew at our place, you will see better from Watford defensively. And it's going to give them a foundation for something a little bit further ahead. I'm not suggesting that you go and look at them defensively at all. There are better ones. You know, Chelsea at home this week, then there's a decent 3 fixtures, and then they've got another shit 4 or 5 as well. So there's a period between 12 and 14, Norwich away, Burnley at home, Southampton away. They're going to be probably needing to get out of trouble, probably at least 6 points from those 3 games, to say, to try and get themselves out of it. That's what they need to target. On Bournemouth, I don't think we're particularly looking to bring them in. I would highly recommend listening to, when we release it, Thursday's Clash of the Correspondents with AFC BNG and Is My Cat playing. But I guess it's probably more to you, Serge. Where are you? Because a lot of people are in the same boat with Callum Wilson at the moment.
If I downgrade Aubameyang, I've got 2 options. I'm getting Jamie Vardy in. If I downgrade Aubameyang to Kane, which keeps me in the premium bracket, then I can turn Callum Wilson into Vardy. If I downgrade Aubameyang straight to Vardy, then I'll keep Callum Wilson, but I'll have a couple of million to spend somewhere else, which I don't know where I would in my squad right now. So it's either Wilson and Aubameyang to Vardy and Kane, or just Aubameyang to Vardy, and then I'll keep Callum Wilson. Doesn't seem right selling him this week, but he won't last beyond next week.
Callum Wilson is a player who, if you own him, is going to massively frustrate. We've said this a couple of weeks ago when he was obviously doing really well. We looked at it when his value was decreasing, even though he was returning. He is a consistent, steady Eddie. His return per game is still around about 5 per match. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately for you, you've got on at the wrong time. It might very quickly swing backwards. Yep.
And I've also only got 1 free transfer this week, which makes the Aubameyang to Vardy seem more tempting.
I think particularly if you're on a combination that, say, and I think a few would maybe have this, say like Vardy, Abraham, Wilson. Unless you've got no other problems, I think I'd stick with Callum Wilson for a bit personally.
Yeah, it's not that compelling a sell necessarily as like being on Pookie or what have you. So yeah. West Ham 1, Sheffield United 1. You saw the highlights.
We're going to talk tomorrow on Tottenham's about this mad arse tweet that you sent out on Saturday night.
It had a maybe in it.
We're not going to talk about it now. What we are going to talk about now is Andrei Yarmolenko, whose XA at the weekend was off the charts, mate.
I didn't see it.
And obviously,
what was his XA?
You were at the game.
No, I didn't see the actual XA
His
number.
XA was big.
Really?
Like, yeah, big. He was about 0.5 more than anybody else in the league at the weekend.
Wow.
It was monster. It was about 1.6. I think it was only one other player, forgive me, I forget who it was, who had an XA of more than 1.
But the ball into Snoddy was so easy to set Snoddy up.
And the chance for Cresswell that he set up as well.
Yeah, true. All in all, it was a pretty turgid game. The first half, we were the better team. They had the better chances, if that makes sense. Their chances were slightly more clear-cut. We needed Roberto and some goal line clearances to help us with that. But we definitely played the better football. They're organised and defensive, aren't they? That's the structure.
You look angry about that, like they shouldn't be.
The problem is that we don't have a way to break teams down like that. We didn't against Crystal Palace, and we didn't again today. It's interesting that the goal we scored was a counter-attacking goal when we were on the break. We didn't have the ability to break them down. Second half, they came out better. They had more of the ball and they played well. We still then created... I think the second half was the opposite. They probably played slightly better football. We had a few more clear-cut chances. Should have put the game to bed 2-0, 3-0, and we didn't. And they came back, and Moose does what Moose does at the moment. He scored another goal. Interesting enough, I think from a West Ham point of view, Yarmolenko is the one that you're looking at. Haller's nowhere to be seen. But I was glad that Snodgrass got into the team because he was our best player at the weekend.
Could you attack into West Ham this week with Newcastle at home? Or do you expect that? I expect that to be quite similar in terms of game. I
do. I think...
and they'll be even deeper, obviously.
I think... Longstaff being suspended would probably be a good thing for us because he's been playing all right. I would say that is
a bonus, yeah.
So that's one bonus. But apart from that, it's going to be similar. But I want to see us play without the brakes on. It feels like we're always playing with the brakes on. Sheffield United are all right though. Their players are all priced cheap in FPL, so they're not bad options. I know our FPL correspondent Tomo, FPL_Tomo, has gone in on Mousse because Mousse is 4.9 million. I do think he's the best of their strikers. McGoldrick and what's his face, who started?
Sharp's up?
No, Sharp came off the bench. What's their other striker's name?
McGoldrick
and Patterson? No. Who am I talking about? We're going to find
Robinson.
Robinson, sorry, yeah.
You were there, mate.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't pay much attention. They weren't up to much. They don't come across as if they're particular goal scorers, whereas Sharp and Mousse were much, much better. I thought they were okay, but nothing interesting, nothing exciting.
So you wouldn't invest in them?
No.
Defensively?
Obviously, like Lundstrom's still Lundstrom, right? Out of position as
we've seen a few teams with 2.
Yeah.
Is that something to consider?
Mousse at 4.9, I think, is all right if he's going to be their main man. And I think Lundstrom, I don't really see anywhere else as interesting.
I've seen quite a few people, and it's understandable, going for Dean Henderson. 26,000 buys this week. His numbers have obviously been steadily on the rise. It's up to 332,000 owners now. Just be cautious that game against Manchester United is coming up in the next couple of weeks, and he will obviously be ineligible for that fixture.
Yeah.
So you might want to, if you've got no problems, you might want to get the sub-keeper in, who I don't know who that is, but Tomo's never short of anything to say, so I'm sure he can tell us.
Tweet
Tomo,
us.
do tweet us. Who will play in goal for Sheffield United against Manchester United? The community will be grateful, and when you're wrong, they'll come hunting for you again. Next game, Serge.
Burnley 2, Chelsea 4. Chelsea, man.
Annoyingly impressive, Chelsea. That said, obviously they conceded the 2 very late goals, and Burnley had decent chances.
They did. But we've known from
Ashley Barnes missed a header, I think, at 1-0 that he'd normally put away with his eyes closed.
But we've known from the start of the season that defensively Chelsea will concede goals.
Yes.
I'm just looking now. How many clean sheets have Chelsea kept this season?
Would it only been in home games?
No, but how many clean sheets?
2.
None. Oh, sorry. I was looking at Pulisic's minutes played.
Just wait for Sush to say 2.
Thanks, there we go.
Brighton at home and Newcastle at home.
It's not setting the world alight.
No, and Ted's at Rotation FPL has been warning for quite a while that, like, if you want to go for Tomori, for example, then you're going to get your 6 points and maybe the odd 1 or 2 bonus points in the occasional home game. But Chelsea are not going to keep clean sheets away from home. They're scoring a sack load of goals, but that's 5-2 at Wolves, 4-1 at Southampton, 4-2 here at Burnley. So, I mean, it just leads me to think it's all in the attacking areas. I just don't know. I think 2 feels right. I think a lot of the listeners will be like where I am with Abraham and Mount. And I think this time last week, a lot of us were considering Callum Hudson-Odoi. I think if you got Callum Hudson-Odoi, you didn't make a mistake at all.
No, you just got your fingers burnt.
And now this week we can add Pulisic into the conversation.
The topic of conversation.
Well, yeah, of course, but it's come from nowhere. I mean, the one thing that stood out for me is greedy fucking shit, isn't he?
Well, from an FPL point of view,
who cares?
Much.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter. He doesn't pass
much.
As long
as he's picked up 3 assists and 3 goals this season so far. And
which, for his minutes, how many minutes?
He's played 4 full games and 3 games off the bench. So he's got 6 attacking returns in 400 minutes of football.
It's good.
Yeah, very good.
It's good.
For a guy that hadn't scored before now. He started the season at 7.5 million.
Twist back on what I said on Hudson-Odoi last week. And you can't help but look at it and go, he hasn't scored a Premier League goal yet.
Sure.
And now, obviously, is the question marks about his place in the team. Like, Lampard's been very cautious on Pulisic. There was plenty of rumours that Lampard was unhappy in terms of the way he was training. I took Lampard at face value in what he said after the game in terms of, look, he played in the Gold Cup. He only had a week's break. He really wanted to ease him in. Now, for natural talent, this kid really has got it. I saw him play for Dortmund and underwhelm a little bit against Spurs in the Champions League a couple of years ago. But he a
couple of years ago, he was 17, 18 years old, man.
It was earlier this year, actually.
Yeah.
He underwhelmed. He didn't overly impress. But he clearly has got the talent. And you can see that he's obviously got the finishing ability from the weekend as well. I would be taking a watching brief on all of this with Chelsea because I need more information. I think the concluding point on that is last week we all thought Hudson-Odoi, right? This week we're thinking something different. Next week it might be something different again. And Willian is playing quite well, I think, at the moment as well.
There is an issue with
he's the steady
Chelsea
Eddie with
options.
a little bit of experience as well. So I tell you what I thought was outstanding for Chelsea at the weekend. It won't get mentioned too much. He's not an FPL asset. I think Kovacic has come on massively. I thought he was outstanding on Saturday.
Yeah, he played particularly well.
Burnley are an off day.
Well, look, they missed Chris Wood, right? And I think not having him is going to...
They still had chances.
They did. I just think having your most recent informed striker not playing is going to be an issue, and they'll struggle this week.
I'm more concerned about that defensively. I'd spoke a little bit, I think, on Friday's podcast about... I don't know if this whole Nick Pope thing is a
myth,
a nostalgic, and a little bit. Yeah, I don't know.
34 points. His ownership is not ridiculous at 14.9, but for a goalkeeper, it is.
A game, it's okay. But bar obviously
3 returns,
clean sheets at home to Everton, clean sheet at home to Norwich, but
and Southampton.
The 3 other games in the last 5 are 1-pointers. It's not great.
No, it's not ideal at all. Let's move on to Sunday's fixtures. Super Sunday, full of fixtures, especially the 4:30s. Newcastle 1, Wolves 1. I didn't watch this. I kept up with it on the old phone, but I didn't think it was going to be that interesting, and it ended up not being. But I think Newcastle fans have to cheer up a little bit now, because I think they've got a real chance of staying up and doing all right.
I think one of the problems they have is, and it was interesting going back to when we had Sion a couple of weeks ago on Clash of the Correspondents at FPL_footballer. He was talking about Joe Linton and the fact that he's not being used properly. And I've been kind of waiting for this game to watch on what he was saying there, and watched this yesterday. And it's the fact that Sai doesn't believe that really he's playing the position that he's for. He spoke about him going to Hoffenheim and being the replacement for Firmino and wanting to come in and link the play, and he's got a good touch. Now, at the moment, he's playing as a lone man who's completely isolated.
He's a target man, basically.
Now, the 2 guys behind both have got serious ability. St. Maximin and Almiron.
Yep.
Almiron, I didn't realise, joking about he ain't scored. He ain't got an assist yet for Newcastle either, right? this guy will be doomsday when he returns, mate. It's just never going to happen for him. And Saint Maximin has got all the ability. He's fucking unpredictable.
Yeah.
You never really, for Joel Linton, you never really know what those two are going to do.
Like.
So therefore, you make runs and it's frustrating. And I was watching out a lot for that in the first half, and he made a few good runs, and he's never going to get the ball, mate, because these guys are so unpredictable. So obviously, look, you wouldn't look at Newcastle from an attacking point of view, which is something I picked up on. Yes, obviously, Jamal Lascelles.
Big Mac himself.
Yeah, shit happens.
But that's 3 returns in 5, right? 2 clean sheets.
McDonald's anyway. I just thought it was getting to the point of 4.4 million, and they've got a good run of fixtures that it was outstanding value. I do think you can still look at Newcastle. Personally, having just seen that go on Lascelles, I think I'm going to let it go now, mate. Like, that's gone, missed it. Because you'll get that every now and again.
Yeah, of course.
But it was a choice for me. I was getting someone in for this. This is where I did make a mistake, I think. Was I was getting someone in for this weekend and beyond to sit as my 5th defender, but knowing there was a very good chance because of Matip and Otamendi that he was actually going to play this weekend. And Lascelles was the better choice than Lundstrom. That said, Lascelles has scored and Lundstrom very nearly scored. So that could have
been the other way. You never know.
Absolutely.
What do we make of Wolves? Because after a good couple of fixtures, this Thursday, Sunday curse has come back to haunt them again, where they haven't performed at their best by any stretch.
No.
And have scraped back a draw. Now, this week, they've got a clear week with no Europa football, followed by Arsenal on the Saturday, which will be a real test for them.
Well, they've got a League Cup game in a week.
Oh, that's true.
But I assume they will mass rotate.
Yeah, you'd hope that they would.
I think that would be very low priority for Wolves.
They kind of flattered to deceive. They gave us some kind of hope that they would be turning the corner and maybe managing it.
They were much better when, very interestingly, when Wolves post their team on Twitter, they're very honest about it. Quite often, they put the players in the right positions. etc. This wasn't the case, and it could just be the social media guys having a guess.
But we don't really know. As centre back.
We remember the famous one with Jota, where official FPL were like, he's out of position. It's your fault. You fucking marked him as a midfielder.
Yeah.
But obviously, Doherty played right-sided centre half in the first half. Didn't quite work, and it helped when they moved Dendoncker back to right-sided centre half second half. Got Doherty further forward, and then on top of that, Traore further forward, who, when he gets going, it's not stoppable. You don't really know what the last ball is going to be like, but unstoppable. I don't really feel, if you were to invest in either of these two teams, at the moment, I would say invest in Newcastle defensively, because the injury to Willy Bolly is a massive problem for Wolves. And interestingly, Bradley warned us about Vallejo, didn't he?
Yeah, he said he was rubbish.
He didn't get on. And I was hoping he was going to play, because I wanted to see how fucking bad he was.
Yeah. Arsenal 2, Palace 2. This is the second time Arsenal have thrown away a 2-goal lead this season. And if you have hopes of top 4, you can't be throwing away 2-0 leads against the likes of Palace. Albeit Palace are a good side, but you can't be throwing away those kind of leads. I feel like they'd self-imploded. Now, you haven't seen any Arsenal fan TV. I watched a couple of videos yesterday because it pops up on my YouTube feed. Fuck, they were pissed.
With what?
The performance overall, I think dropping Willock, albeit not played well, people thought was a bit harsh. Where the fuck is Ozil? Because if Emre said a few weeks ago that he's been training well, and during the international break he said he's been training all right and doing the right things, where the fuck is he then? Because no one seems to know. And then the icing on the cake is obviously Xhaka. Real problem with Xhaka. And then VAR didn't help with that third goal being disallowed. I think all of that put together in a hodgepodge is actually being very heavily targeted at Emery. He's the one that is...
The third goal, Tottenham bias here, it should have stood.
Yeah. But all of it combined in one is targeted at Xhaka a little for his reaction, sure, and Emery. And quite a few of those guys are saying Emery out.
Adam at 35, who when we started with the correspondence, was almost the most important appointment for me, because I didn't want an Arsenal fan who was going to be full of the fucking narrative of Arsenal media, TV and all that. Adam has run out of patience with Emery. And it stems from his opinion on, say, Xhaka, for example, is that although Xhaka underwhelms, he's never really been playing in the right position for Arsenal.
Yep.
And all we can see with Emery at the moment is a recycling of the same thing, the same mistakes happening over and over. If you look at a graphic, I think it's 70 odd, it won't be that many games, it was 48 league games now, Emery?
Something like that.
48. If you look at Emery's first 48 against Wenger's last 48, it's worse for Emery. And that's the problem.
But I feel like the squad has moved on.
No. Adam thinks that actually in terms of quality of squad, it's probably the best that it's been in quite a while. And
squad, that's what I'm saying. I think the squad is better.
It was Tierney's first game yesterday. Bellerin was obviously on the bench yesterday. He's just come back. Once they get those two up and running, that will certainly be a big help to them. But they're making the same old mistakes, and it just feels no different to me. I had a period, I said, I think in the summer to Adam, and when we had him on, that I saw glimpses of Pochettino's Tottenham in Pochettino's first season at Tottenham to what happened with Emery and Arsenal last season, and that there might be massive benefits this year on increased levels of fitness, etc., etc. Nothing's changed.
No.
The only reason they are in contention for the top four is because Tottenham are shit, Man United are shit. And Chelsea and Leicester are developing football teams. That's the only reason that they might stay in contention for the top four. They're not better than what they were 2 or 3 years ago.
Look, at 10 games in, they're already 4 points off Chelsea, and you can't see it getting much better.
Just on a personal, I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter today about this narrative of Lacazette back in the team and Aubameyang back on the left. I suggest you go and check out Danny Ceballos' heat map from the first hour yesterday, because Arsenal essentially basically played 4-4-2 yesterday, and Aubameyang and Lacazette both played through the middle.
Up front. There's talk about Milivojevic as well, knocking in penalties again. It's only his second goal of the season.
Well, if VAR are doing this now, Milivojevic is essential. Get him in, mate.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to go down that route. But an assist for Zaha either way.
Zaha's going to get an assist every week.
You know, Zaha's down to 6.7 million.
Pull up Palace's fixtures, please,
and
mate.
he's a midfielder, is Zaha
pull up
as well.
Palace's fixtures. Because there's timing on this. And I'm absolutely certain, if I hold my wild card to game week 15, I'm absolutely certain that I'm going to buy Wilfried Zaha. I think I'll go game week 14 away to Burnley. I'll go early.
Yeah, and that's with your wild card or with
No,
Zaha?
just get him in, go early, blind. Whatever he does in the next few weeks. I know I'm going to want some Palace coverage. Their run from 14 going onwards is
very good.
They've got the best December by a mile.
Yep.
And they're hanging in. When we spoke to Mig early in the season, we said, if you can get to that December period and kind of be like 15th, 16th, you'll kick on. Like, they've got a
decent chance.
Palace will let themselves down. Unfortunately, they've got half a shot of actually doing something this year. I think if they can get through the next few fixtures and stay top half, they walk into that amazing December. You know what'll happen though? They'll fuck it up.
Gazzaniga 12 saves is the biggest thing that's interesting for me in this Liverpool 2 Spurs 1. I thought as a Spurs fan, it was better.
Are you a Spurs fan now?
No. If I was a Spurs fan, I would take some heart from it. It was better.
Yeah, first 60 seconds.
You scored at Anfield. Kane and Son linking up. I'm trying to find positives for you here. Gazzaniga made 12 saves. Some of them were actually quite good saves as well.
Positives, okay. Firstly, shout out for Gazzaniga, because I've said he's shit. He played well. Although I think every single save that he made, I would expect any goalkeeper to make. I don't think he made any save in the game that would make me go, wow, what a worldie there.
Yeah.
But listen, 12 saves is brilliant. There's nothing he could do about the goals. He did really well. He was our best player, arguably man of the match. The other positive from a Spurs perspective was that we didn't get absolutely fucking annihilated. Let's talk about Liverpool, because I'll talk about Spurs tomorrow. There's nothing to talk about with Spurs, mate, honestly.
Yeah.
Nothing to talk about. I'll talk about it in detail tomorrow on Tottenham,
Yeah, I'm
mate.
still tempted to buy Harry Kane, so we will then have to talk about it in a little bit more detail.
You do that, mate. Don't buy him, man, because you jinx everybody. All right, what I'll say about Kane, I said this a little bit on the People's Poll earlier when we was talking about Vardy. Kane will always score in games like this. It's not a matter. He's a cold ice killer in front of goal. He took the goal really well. over a sustained period of time now, his returns away from home have matched his returns at home.
Yep.
Because of the way Spurs are playing at the moment, you certainly couldn't captain him in an away game. We haven't won away from home since January. We haven't won an away game with Harry Kane in the team this year, I don't believe. Not since, that's a lie, Cardiff, New Year's Day, I think. And Dortmund in Europe, sorry. But you because of the way we're playing, you can't have the confidence to captain him in home games. Therefore, for me, he's taking up a lot of value for a premium forward who, and trust me, if you get Harry Kane in your team, you will subconsciously get around to Sheffield United at home in 2 game weeks' time, and you will want to captain him. Because I know that if I had Harry Kane in 2 weeks' time at home to Sheffield United, I would captain him, because to not do would probably be a mistake. Forget Sheffield United stats. It's the capability. It's the ceiling of what it could be.
Yeah, I don't agree with you on that. I think if I bought Harry Kane, I'd be comfortable not captaining him.
As the most expensive player in your squad, you would never captain him.
I'm not saying I would never captain him, but Sheffield United in 2 weeks, game week 12, I'd have Jamie Vardy in my team at the same time. Who are Leicester playing in 2 weeks? Let's have a butcher's.
Home to Arsenal, we'd go Vardy.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take Vardy all the time. So I'm happy not to captain Kane and captain Vardy in that game if I wanted to.
But if you're never going to captain him, we're talking serious money here. When there are good value forwards, right? I went with Harry because I believed there was a massive run of home fixtures where I could captain him. I looked at it in a period that if he was doing well consistently, I could run with Sterling and Kane all the way up to that game week 18 period with the two of them and the way they alternate. And you could still go down that route. Son offers perhaps a better alternative, I would say, if you really decide you want to do that. I having come off Kane, and yes, he scored at the weekend, he'll score at any time in any game, mate.
That's one of the reasons why you want to buy him.
But right now, honestly, heart and head, it's too much money for a player that you can't captain.
I'm not saying I couldn't captain him.
And I also
any week.
feel the same applies to Aubameyang, and it will do for Aguero after this weekend as well, which just brings us full circle to please listen to the People's Poll earlier and buy Jamie Vardy. Liverpool.
Yeah.
What a team they are, mate.
Their best player, like we were talking off earlier in the day. I feel like Trent's right foot, it's kind of like almost Beckham-esque, where he can just put the ball wherever he wants to.
It's like it's a breed of Beckham De Bruyne at right back, mate.
Yeah, he's a crossbreed between the two, and he's just something else. If he learns to defend a little bit.
I'm thinking about Kevin De Bruyne and David Beckham's love child here.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Which David Beckham, the long hair or the shaved head?
I was thinking
shaved head. That's when he wore the sarong.
Yeah, carry on.
Agreed. And Lovren comes in, and he didn't play badly either, so they've got a little bit of depth there.
I don't know if he played well.
Interesting that Gomez is not getting into the team at the moment.
It is, yeah. There was a lot made on commentary about Kane always does Lovren. I don't think that's the case. I think there's been games where Lovren's actually done all right against Kane, and it just gets noticed more when Kane does Lovren the other way. And it's not Lovren's fault that Kane scored early in the game. It's probably more on Van Dijk, actually, lack of reaction. It's a weak point. Alexander-Arnold's defensive work is actually causing Liverpool some issues. And actually, considering we didn't touch the ball between basically minute 10 and minute 75, other than Son's chance when he hit the bar, we did have a few chances in the game. I mean, Son hit post and bar and had a shot saved towards the end. But Liverpool very, very comfortably, if not in scoreline, were the better side. They're an awesome machine. And I think they know, because of what City have done the last couple of years, that they just cannot let up. It's not let's accumulate points and let's push on second half of the season. I feel like they're in killer mode at the moment, and they know that if they can go to Villa and win this weekend and then beat City, they are in an amazing position, and then fixtures begin to swing their way a little bit and a bit more difficult for City. And I think they genuinely believe right now, if they just keep winning games, no matter how, they can finish this before Christmas. I don't think they will, but if they could get far enough ahead that it will hurt City too much. And City are going to be sloppy in a game or two. Whereas although they're giving up more chances than you've been accustomed with them, you just believe in them through. Sometimes with them, more than say City, it will come on sheer will.
Yeah,
like they'll find a way.
If you look at the interview with Jordan Henderson after the game, the guy on the telly asked him like, "Yo, why? How is it that you've come from these positions like Leicester and what have you?" And he did say it's mentality, it's mindset. Now they have that steely mindset, and I think Jordan Henderson epitomizes it. They're going to win and they're going to drag themselves through games. The problem with City now, because Fernandinho's got a flipping suspension now.
It's not a problem. He missed the League Cup game.
Oh, is it only? Yeah. Okay, fine. So
if you're not a Mendy owner, you can still sell him, like me.
Yeah, so many enjoys. I think it was Chancellor that said he wished he could clone Otamendi to have the joy of selling him.
By the way, we didn't really cover it, but Mendy is probably the choice.
Oh, he is looking all right as Ben Mendy. But anyway, I just think Liverpool, City are going to concede goals. I think if you really have a go at them, you can see City conceding 2-3 goals in a game sometimes.
It feels remarkable that Liverpool have conceded in every home game.
It's mental, isn't it? And there's only one every time. That's a stupid thing.
At least this time the goal went early.
Yeah.
You knew your clean sheet was fucked after a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
TAA and Robbo are unbelievable. Honestly, the pair of them could have had like a hat trick, particularly Alexander-Arnold, who both could have had like a hat trick assist in this game. And there is gonna be a week, and it's going to come soon, where the pair of them are going to hit 15 plus in the same week, mate. Each. I'm telling you.
Called it here.
I saw one question in the tweets: when will Liverpool actually ever keep a clean sheet?
Who cares?
I'll just keep going on to it and believing that it's this week. But that's a good point, Serge. People keep going, because I'm still on Matip as well. When they're going to keep fucking Alexander-Arnold and Robertson, it don't matter, man. They're in there for the attacking stuff. They're unbelievable. They really are. They're wingers, mate.
Clean sheets is
Think
now
of them
bonus.
as wingers and not defenders. You'll feel better about it.
They are set a third and fourth for highest points scored this season out of all defenders.
Their returns are astonishingly low against what it should be.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely not in any doubt about that. I've watched nearly all of Liverpool games this season, and the pair of them are frightening. If there's a better fullback in either position, left or right at the moment, than those two in the world, honestly, come and debate it out with me.
Let's talk about the final game, because we want to do a few Twitter questions
Robertson's
as well.
Scottish, man.
We've already been chatting for an hour, man, about all these games.
Back me up here.
Nah, I'm not going to.
Talking of Scottish players, Scott McTominay, he's playing well, isn't he?
Well, he was in my North East South team. Cheeky little goal there. Norwich 1, Manchester United 3. Doesn't fully tell the tale because they did miss 2 penalties as well. You're talking about Norwich being the whipping boys of the league at the moment. Not looking good for them.
So somebody asked me in the office this afternoon who had the bigger XG at the weekend. I was trying to dig me about Spurs. Was it Leicester at Southampton, or was it Liverpool against Spurs? Believe it or not, despite Gazaniga's 12 saves, Liverpool's XG was only about 2.6, I think.
Okay.
Leicester's was in the 4s. It was less than Manchester United's.
Wow.
Now, United did have 2 penalties.
Yeah.
Leicester had a penalty and Liverpool had a penalty as well.
Mm-hmm.
Good from United. I just don't know if it's more a story of Norwich here, and the fact that City result is going to become more of a legend because of how remarkable it was.
Yeah.
They're not good enough, unfortunately. It's hard. Norwich, unfortunately, now it's almost in the position, never mind staying up, because of where they're at defensively, it's almost at the stage I almost can't see them not finishing bottom.
It's difficult for Norwich at the moment. I don't doubt that at all. They're conceding too many goals. I'm not. I'm a fan of Rashford and Martial, and I like it when Manchester United play with pace. So Martial is the one that is looking interesting at the moment at 7.5 million. He's back to his starting price.
Yeah, I think for those who catch up on Thursday's Clash of the Correspondents, Martial, I think, have a listen to that, and you'll probably feel like you might want to go for him. Martial has great numbers in games that he's played. I think it's 10 wins for United in the 13 games that he's played under Solskjaer, and it looks awful when he doesn't play. I think we all went on him early because he was the obvious OOP, going and playing up front. You know, Son was on the wing yesterday.
Yeah.
When he came on against Watford the week before as well. Martial, OOP, 4 good fixtures. I think if you're looking for someone in that value, it's a good shout. But I'm not convinced personally.
Should we talk about some Twitter questions?
Oh, is that the game's done, is it?
That's all of the games. That's 10 of them.
Yeah, let's do that. Fucking hell, it's hot in here, Suj.
Oh, we need to turn the heating down.
Go and turn the heating down. Because while you do, I'll give a couple of shout-outs.
Do it.
First off, our City correspondent, FPL Pringle, who we got on with rotation FPL before they played Chelsea in game week 13. He's in the Wolfpack Cup final. I can't remember who's in the final for, but Bricky, our mate from Luton, I promised you I'd give it a shout-out, and I did. And also a shout-out for Anya and Sarah at Fantasy Football Wives, who I met at the Spurs game last week, and they genuinely are brilliant, brilliant girls. There is a massive stigma, I think, not just in this, not in the community, but in people anyway, still have this fucking idea about women
don't
and
know
girls
about football.
These two girls know their shit, and they're good fun. They've got good personalities. And actually, do you know what? If you like us, you'll probably like them. So give them a shot. And Anya's a Spurs fan who married an Arsenal fan, and Sarah is a Man City fan who married a Man United fan.
Yeah, I don't have a... There we go. Check them out.
And me and Suj are not married.
It's Fantasy Football Wives, right? Is their show.
Yes, on their last podcast, particularly on their YouTube feed, there's a little 5-minute video with myself at the end.
Oh,
which
nice.
You might enjoy if you like
I haven't
that sort of
seen
thing.
it yet. You haven't sent it to me to have a look at.
I have to say, I fucking retweeted it and shit.
Oh, did you?
I'm in this.
I'm on Twitter once a week.
There's actually a Planet FPL exclusive on that, and Suj doesn't even know because he's not listened to it.
Because I'm not on Twitter. I'm on Twitter once a week, mate. So I'm not all over it like you necessarily. Let's do some Twitter questions. We've got a little bit of time. We'll try and squeeze in as many as we
let's do it. Let's
can.
go quick fire on these. Come on.
Okay, Rob Pick at rpick86. What should Callum Hudson Odoi owners do after the Captain America show?
Stick. I don't think you've got any other choice.
Yeah, I would stick as well. Having said that, that wealth of talent there that they have with Willian and Pulisic and Callum Hudson-Odoi and so on is a little bit of a concern on rotation because they do have Champions League as well, and they're still in the Cup.
League Cup this week as well, so you might get some clues on Wednesday. My instinct would be go. I think what's probably frustrating for the guys who went from it is a little bit like what I said. You go on and almost, I'm not saying anyone forgot about Pulisic, but you felt safe. It really felt safe to go for him. Whereas now you're like, oh shit, and Williams scored, and Williams playing quite well. Pedro's injured, and what happens there? And so it's a little bit, you forget about Pedro as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
It's a little bit confusing. We've seen Mount almost playing that kind of position on sort of outside left as well on occasion. So yeah, they're going to get rotated. I think we did say this about Chelsea, that there is going to be rotation.
Yeah, you got to stomach it and just take it.
Abraham, if you're an Abraham owner, chances are at the moment you're getting 70 minutes.
Take it.
Quite often you got, Batchwire's coming on and
we
scored.
haven't even
the
mentioned
and they brought Giroud
Barkley
on at the weekend. Bartley's injured for a little bit. I don't know how long for.
We don't know when Loftus-Cheek's back.
Jorginho and Kovacic played really well at the weekend, and obviously Kante is going to come back into that. So they've got options suddenly from going.
Is a good player as well.
Loftus-Cheek's going to come back as well. Can't be too far away.
No.
They've got some fucking talent, unfortunately.
So hold, because he's good value at 6 million.
But actually, maybe based on what everything we just said, sell.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
No, I've just wait and assess the options.
Yeah.
Fix up your bench, the shit. Get some cover.
There's only one place to go from here. Big geezer Ron Weasley is back.
Hello, Ron.
Ron Weasley has been released from Azkaban, done 6 months' time. So we're actually really good to have you back. Just hit me up before the Newcastle game, where we'll go for a pint, and if England win the Rugby World Cup in the morning, it'll be a mess.
How good were England's Saturday morning?
I'm a big rugby fan, and just the words that was such a good all round performance. That first half was incredible. The way they were nicking the ball in a breakdown and stuff, and that to concede a try like that, when you've gone against the All Blacks, won 19-7, and you're disappointed that they scored 7 points because it was the sloppiest fucking... that was Adrian passing the ball to Danny Ings level of shit to concede that try. But anyway, that's
I was thinking more Hugo Lloris trying to dribble past Danny Ings on the line.
Cruyff turn. Fuck it.
No, brilliant. That's the second time I tweeted at the time. That's the second time this year I got captivated by sport that wasn't football. That Saturday and the ODI final, which was also against New Zealand as well. I don't know anything about egg chasing, so I'm not going to bore you with it.
I don't expect as good a game this Saturday as
we'll win, though, won't we?
Attrition. We are the favourites.
Rugby's coming home. It's coming home.
Yeah. Ron Weasley's question, right? Which of these 4 options will happen first? Xhaka loses the Arsenal captaincy re-election, and is replaced by Mustafi in a sympathy vote. Serge Aurier learns how to defend. I get a top 10k rank, or you leave your wife for your secret lover, Jamal Lascelles.
Worryingly, I feel like the most likely option of the 4 is me to leave my wife for Jamal Lascelles.
I don't think so.
Yeah, go on. What's the answer then?
I would say you're not leaving your wife for Jamal Lascelles unless he offered you Big Macs in bed, but I don't think that's going to happen. So Lascelles is out of the question.
That's so rough, mate.
I actually think if I took it seriously, Serge Aurier learns how to defend.
Yeah, Jamal, take the gherkins out, mate.
Mustafi's never getting the Arsenal captaincy, and Xhaka probably will lose it now, but we'll see. So I'm going to go Aurier learns to defend, followed by a 10k rank for me, followed by Mustafi, followed by you and Jamal Lascelles, as a sensible answer to a non-sensible question. Sorry, I've ruined it there.
The only one of those 4 that could possibly happen is you getting a top 10k rank.
Because you think Serge Aurier is never going to learn to defend.
No chance, mate. The thing is, like with the challenge on Mane, you can see the whole thing happening. You know it. It's like he got back, and I know if you didn't think this, you ain't a Spurs fan. That he got back and he made a good tackle, and at the same moment you went, "Good tackle, Serge. He's going to give away a penalty here." Was like in one sentence. You just knew what was going to happen. He's a fucking calamity. He's a trier. I never. He's one of them. I don't question him on that. He's just. Fuck, man. He's a liability. I know a lot of people told me from day one he's a liability, and I'd stuck with him for quite a long time. Just a note on Xhaka, because we didn't talk about it on the last. If you just want to hear about that last 10 minutes of people's poll this morning, we did a bit on Xhaka and
Granit Xhaka,
his reaction and what might happen next at Arsenal.
Yes, Adam Leatherbarrow, fellow Hammer. How you doing, Adam? How many players on your squad have lasted since the beginning? I've seen quite a few complete overhauls on my friends' leagues. I'm on 4 players in my current squad. Edison, Trent and Robbo at the back.
Yeah.
Lundstrom, actually, I've had from the beginning of the season.
Really?
Yep.
What, pre-season?
Bought him game week 1, mate, at £4 million.
Pre-game week 1?
Game week 1, yeah. I've had Lundstrom since.
And you're still doing shit?
And Callum Wilson, I still own, who, having said that, though, I did break up with him and bought back. Yeah. But if you want to count him, otherwise, so including Callum Wilson is 5, otherwise it's 4.
Haven't left my squad at all. There's 6, I believe. Both keepers, Heaton and Woodman.
Yep.
Dale Stevens hasn't moved.
Okay.
TAA and Robbo. And Sterling. Is that 6? That's 6. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, say something.
Okay, then I'm just reading the next question and ready to go for it. Right, this is coming in from our friend Morpheus Fire. Hit, how you doing, mate? You hope you are well. He has a real dilemma.
Oh, this is a cracker.
He has a real dilemma. My office Christmas party is on December the 13th. The Who Got the Assist Christmas meetup is on December the 13th, as is your birthday, James.
It's true.
Which we will be at the Who Got the Assist Christmas party, December the 13th.
No, we won't. It's my birthday.
No, we're going to party like it's your birthday.
No, we're going. We're going. She had the cheek to me indoors. She goes, "Are you going to that? On your birthday?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Bring her.
So
the world needs to meet Katie. Bring her. And that way we can share a cab freeways.
Yeah, the problem with that is who's looking after the little man. That's the problem.
My missus will do it. No
really?
doubt. Yeah,
I hope she likes getting bit.
Has she been telling you stories about me again?
Oh, okay.
This has descended into farce.
This went south, literally.
Come on, let's bring it back to what we want. What is an acceptable lie for Morpheus to tell the office to get out of the office Christmas party?
Don't lie, mate. Tell them the truth.
Yeah. Bring them with you, right? Surely that's the best solution.
No, because you don't need office dickheads at Christmas turning up and going, "Hey, you fucking give a shit about fantasy football."
I'm sure there's
no
people
one
that
needs all
play. If I remember correctly, he's an accountant, to be honest with you. So they could probably bring a few helpful spreadsheets that could figure out some.
He could probably bring a few other
stats.
helpful things from his office Christmas party, which would shock a few of the nerds in the FPL.
Oh dear. Okay. FPL dabbler. This is quickfire. All day breakfast or chicken bacon and stuffing? I'm assuming that's for a sandwich.
What, like a Tesco chicken bacon? It's got to be an all-dayer, isn't it?
I would go chicken bacon stuffing, mate.
What?
I had roast chicken and bacon at Acosta for lunch today, so chicken bacon stuffing. Not all day breakfast. I'm not the biggest fan of cold egg in that way.
Oh, you've shocked me, mate. Move on. It's all about the all-dayer, mate.
Lee Jackson, Lee_Jackson_92. Give that man a follow. Is there any hope for Norwich?
Yeah, he supports Villa. They ain't out of it.
Norwich are
I
done
think
for,
Villa
right?
will be fine, and I think we've maintained for a long time. We think Sheffield United will be fine as well. Who do we think bottom three at the moment? Norwich, Southampton, Watford?
Yeah, which is the current bottom three.
Newcastle, be all right?
I think if anyone out of Norwich and Southampton are going to get out of it, it's Watford. Out of the three of them.
Got to start winning quick though, man.
Yeah,
It's just gone.
I just see them keeping clean sheets, and the other two are not going to keep clean sheets. So I think Watford may get out of it, and Norwich may slip in.
A little bit of a sneaky, having watched Newcastle's last two home games, United and Wolves now, that they might be all right. The Geordies, it might get better. I think Bruce is doing okay actually.
Yeah,
under a circumstance where everybody's waiting for him to fail. I think he's doing okay with what he's got.
Let's have a look here. A lot of people asking questions about Aguero. We have answered that in the pod previously, but we do have a few people here, like James Bonwick. What would you suggest for Aguero? 2 game weeks in a row of not starting, 4 in a row without a goal, stick or twist.
Captain him and sell him Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, the greatest FPL asset over the last 3 or 4 seasons arguably is Aguero, just for his consistency and the number of times he has helped players with the triple captain armband hauling like a motherfucker.
I'll have a bet with you now that if Aguero starts this Saturday, it's got a trick.
I don't want to take that bet.
All right.
I don't mind that bet though. I think he's a good shout to anytime. City can tear it up anytime. Here, FPL
Just
addict.
on that, I think, by the way, like we'd said, there's a good video going around. I think it was with Joe, Luke and Kunkaram from Scout, where they was doing the Breakfast Club, where the team got announced.
Yeah.
And they're all like, "Oh, but at least he plays in home games."
Yeah.
And obviously he didn't. Like, if Aguero starts in the League Cup against Southampton on tomorrow night, which is Tuesday, it doesn't mean it ain't going to start Saturday. I think Guardiola has got a completely irrational fucking approach to this shit. I also don't think he quite knows at the moment what his best 11 is going forward, by the way, in terms of Bernardo, Mahrez. I thought Bernardo wasn't at his best on Saturday. And I love him. I think he's a great player. So Mahrez might get a look in. You couldn't believe that you'd have Otamendi, Mahrez and Aguero over 2 game weeks and get 1 point out of it. Harsh.
We've got FPL Pessimistic Potato at FPL Potato.
I knew you'd read this one out. You'll know why in a minute, listeners.
Yeah, I did see the shameless plug there. In a shameless bid to get my question read out, I'd like to point out that I think your podcast is excellent and the quality of content that you put out is mad.
Cheers.
Big
man.
up. And yeah,
Big
that
up
was not the
yourself.
question. Ball selector. If you need to ditch either Sterling or Salah to fund a transfer in for Vardy, who would you bin off? Now, that's a very difficult one to think about. Salah hasn't had a double-digit return since game week 3. And he's only had the 1 this season. He hasn't been hauling.
That's against Arsenal. Does that even count?
He hasn't been hauling this season in the way that previously he had. He's been ticking along nicely. I mean, he's 62 points after 10 game weeks at 6.2 a game. He's going to top 200 points comfortably this season. But Sterling has had the handful of explosive games as well in there. Personally, I would keep Sterling and ditch Salah, but then I've not owned Salah for the whole season, and I have owned Sterling this season.
I tell you what I would say, I wouldn't ditch either of those two players for Vardy this weekend.
No, that's the thing, isn't it?
If you just look at it on face value, of the three players there, Vardy has the hardest fixture in Palace away compared to Salah at Villa, who are open more than I think people realise at the moment. They're a good side, but they're quite open. I don't think they're going to sit in and go super ultra defensive like other teams would do against Liverpool. And Sterling, if he plays, has got an amazing fixture, hasn't he? So I don't know. I think if you're forcing that move now, you're forcing it now through fear of value and the fear of, I'm going to get on Vardy at 9.4 or whatever, rather than what the price is now.
Yeah. I clicked onto a question, but I know the question I was going to ask, which is coming from FPL Addict, which is not FPL Addict Chris. There's another FPL
There's
Addict.
another one. You better read the handle then.
Martin Cumber.
Hello, Martin.
Cumber LA4. So I'm assuming he's up in Lancashire, because that would be his postcode. Send us the second half of your postcode and we know where you are.
Weird. Phone numbers as well, please.
Yeah, please. What are you guys finding the hardest about FPL this year? I'll tell you one thing about FPL this year. Because of the unpredictability of it and the real broad spectrum of scores, you've got real top managers in the 2 to 3 millions, and you've got absolute random stuff like our zombie team being in the top 250k and stuff like that. And we were tweeted with quite a few zombie teams in the top 100k and top like 80k and stuff like that.
Silly stuff, mate.
Yes. I care less actually this year. Like previous years, if everybody was doing well and I was doing mediocre, I'd beat myself up more about it. I actually think looking at it this year, I'm enjoying the fact that I don't have to worry too much because there's as many people doing badly as there is good. And I think stamina and persistence and just consistency in the end will play out this season. I think game week 20, so 10 games on from where we are, I'll be inside the top 500,000.
Yeah, I hope so.
I'm just 1.9 something right now, but I think consistency in time, top 500k, and I think by the end of the season, I can still get into the top 100k.
Brilliant stories of massive jumps that people have taken just
Both
on this
ways
game
as
week
well, sadly.
and in the last few game weeks. And also just remember as well, like I'm up to say, what am I, 340k. My average per week is just under 55. Now that's not where I'd want it to be. Now, it's reasonable to expect actually that in other seasons, that kind of return would actually have me outside the top million, possibly. So the difference to make up is not that big. It's one good week. I've had a good week, 68, well above average, and jumped 300k. I've seen some mad ass teams. There's someone who jumped from like 1.8 million to 100k or something just because they hit like 100 this week. Like the gap is not that big. We're all still quite close together. Your rank is what?
1.9 million.
I'm 340k. It's 50 points between us. You can make it up
easily. Yeah, I've had 3 game weeks this year. I've had a 26, a 30, and a 35.
You won't though.
What? Make it up? No. The cockier you are, the more likely it is to happen. You have to always remember that.
You'll never beat me, mate.
Oh, never say never.
I've just said it.
Never say
Me and Suj
never.
will never win FPL because, unfortunately, the content that we put out on the podcast is far more important to us than the actual fucking game.
If you do follow me on Twitter, and if you don't, why don't you? But if you do, go to @Sujan, you'll look for my tweet at 7:20 p.m. on Friday that I'd done my transfers 3 minutes before the deadline because I didn't know what the fuck
my lord,
to do.
you're such a joke.
Yeah, man. But it was a tough week this week to figure out what moves to make.
So what moves did you make, remind me?
I went from Riyad Mahrez to Kevin De Bruyne, and I brought in Rico for Otamendi.
Yeah, it's all right.
Let's wrap up with one more question, shall we?
Just one?
Yeah, because
How long have we been
we've
recording?
taken up 1 hour, 24 minutes. Should we do 2?
Get free. Go.
Big at the back is a real
Making
talking
a
point
comeback.
now.
Yeah,
is it making
Mendy,
a comeback?
Alonso, Robertson, TAA. Yeah.
Plus chuck in Chilwell or Johnny or what have you. Do you think big at the back is still a fair strategy?
You're asking the guy who's still won 3 Liverpool defenders. So
I mean, looking at 3 out of the top, the top scoring goalkeeper now is Ederson who is the most expensive keeper in the game. 3 out of the top 4 defenders, you've got Trent, Robbo and Pereira, who's 6.2, all more than 6 million. And the others are not too far behind. Mendy is making a comeback. 2 games, 2 6-point returns. Alonso's been scoring and returning. There is an argument to be said, you can go back a little bit too big at the back.
I think my most likely transfer this week is Otamendi to Mendy or Chilwell. I think.
If I was you, I would take Ben Mendy. I think Mendy's ripe to start really returning.
What's he ripe for? What?
Returning.
Oh, okay.
Well, what did you think I said?
Just for ripe. Yeah, I'm conscious that it's Liverpool the game after though, and therefore maybe just wait these 2 and then go. Because I believe there's so much value in the game at the moment that I'm just not desperate to get on it before.
Any price changes?
But, I mean, it does look like a very likely clean sheet. The thing is, if I get Mendy in, I won't leave him out at Liverpool. I would play him.
Because again, like the Liverpool guys, you're getting him for attacking returns as much as defensive returns.
And then I'm going to play 6 players in that fixture, which is a bit mad.
Yeah. And final question from FPL Awesome O. Heung-min Son. Thought he looked lively yesterday and was really unlucky not to score. Surely a hold until you guys play Sheffield United at home.
But if you've carried through this, you stay now, I think.
Even when he came on last week in the second half, he looked lively. He definitely adds energy and pace to your team.
I've got some thoughts on Son, actually, which I kind of want to centre on for Tottenham tomorrow. But from an FPL perspective, then yeah, absolutely. If you've come through this game week now, you're not coming off. He scored nearly 19 or 20 points in the fixture at Goodison in December. So he's got history for doing returns at Goodison. And then the fixtures on paper, now that Liverpool is out the way, look a lot better for Spurs. Now, all we've got now between now and sort of mid-January is Chelsea at home and United away from the bigger clubs. Even Leicester is gone; it's out the way. We got to ramp up that pressure, and it's got to start now. I do believe Son is the best asset to have from Spurs. So if you've held through, then the advice now is to keep holding.
For sure,
I would. If I go back for Spurs, I'm certain it'll be for him.
That is that with the Twitter questions, James. We can't answer all 58 that people have tried to squeeze in there.
But thank you for all the questions. It's much appreciated.
Yeah, we do appreciate it. If we're sitting doing nothing at some point, maybe try and get back to as many as we can.
Always says that.
Yeah, never do
I don't get back to anyone because I want them to listen and think,
will my question get answered? Yeah, sure. Okay, we'll leave it 48 hours, I was going to say. And then we'll talk back to people.
Although, shout out to, I think it's FPL Governor, who asked me a question last week, which I thought was really good, about the idea of having players at less than 10.5 million. And then we obviously put it out in the poll. I'm afraid it lost the poll by 1%, so we'll never know.
No, true.
But Suj is basically on it, nearly. If he goes
Aubameyang is my
only... If he goes Aubameyang to Vardy, he's on it.
Yeah.
And then I think we will talk about it in more detail.
So thank you to all you listeners for the feedback, support, all the comments that we get and all of the positive tweets as well. Actually, still, regardless of being two and a bit years later, surprising me every time we get some nice comments. So thank you for all of that. Do hit like and subscribe and share and comment on the YouTube videos and what have you. If you didn't know that we are on YouTube, actually see our faces on there.
Why would you want to?
Yeah, true. Other than that, though, thanks for listening again, and tune in tomorrow for Tottenham, Wednesday for our Sky FF podcast, all about Sky Fantasy Football. I hit the 100 club. I don't think that's that.
I'm just waiting to see if you get this whole listing right. Keep going.
Thursday, we've got Clash of the Correspondents, Neil Grover. Our Bournemouth correspondent, and Gary, who is our Manchester United correspondent, before their lunchtime game on a Saturday. And Friday, we got the final plan. There we go. So much content to put out this week.
Well done, Suj. That's it. We're done.
Ciao for now.
Cue music, man, child. Love you all.